Welcome on in. Pound of the Land on Big Play Sports Network, brought to you by FanDuel. It's another Monday, and my co-host Max Loeb is obviously not here with me today, but I will be sharing the stage with my guy Pat. I'm sure he's gonna have some things to say here on the show, but we all know why we're here. This is the recap show. This is more so the Let It Rain on Kevin show. We're going to talk about the late collapse. We're going to talk about the Wentz drive. We're going to talk about pretty much everything that we saw and pretty much just letting it. This is the therapy session. This is me. You know how we get down when I get on these Monday shows after a loss. I come on here and I'm pretty much just getting to letting it go. Anything that's on my mind, I'm just going to let it go out. So, Pat, you got it. I want to bring you in first. I want to hear some thoughts that you got. Oh, keep it all to me. Okay. Well, never mind then. We won't go to Pat yet. I'm sure I'll bring Pat in for something, but let's just go ahead and get right into what we need to talk about. Browns lose 21-17 in such a heartbreaking fashion, honestly. You talk about where this Cleveland Browns team is in terms of like personnel and who they have on their team and the talent that they have, one of the best defenses in the league. But yet the result is still the same. No matter if it's Joe Flacco at quarterback, no matter if it's Dylan Gabriel at quarterback, we still can't seem to execute when we need to. We can't seem to capitalize on missed field goals and missed field goals and forced fumbles. We have a hard time doing anything in the second half in terms of play calling. I mean, you go back here and you look at the play sheet, and after the touchdown in the third quarter, we went 13 plays, 69 yards in 8 minutes. We go 3 plays, 9 yards, 3 plays, 4 yards, 5 plays, 17 yards, 3 plays, -1 yards, 3 plays, 44 yards to end the game. We have gone 34, I believe the number is 34, if I'm not correct, 34-ish drives the first 5 games of the season where the offense has gone out there and ran 3 to 5 plays and it resulted in a punt. So there's clearly a lot of things that are not working right now with the Cleveland Browns organization. And the main question is, who's to blame for this? Now, I'll try not to get worked up, Bob, because it's getting there. But when are we going to start looking at Kevin stuff? What are we waiting for? I asked this question after week 1. I asked it after week 3. What exactly are we waiting for to make this change? Because we're at that point of the season now where we talked about a few weeks ago where we played the hypothetical. Well, if the Browns are in this situation, is the seat going to be hot? Is the leash going to be shorter? And yet here we are, 1-4, and you didn't lose because of the special teams. You didn't lose because of Andre Schmidt. You didn't lose. A lot of people are going to say you lost because of Denzel Ward. He played terrible coverage at the end of the game. The defense gave up an 80-yard drive to Carson Wentz, the whole 9. But what happened for the people that always like to go to that excuse? They say, well, you got to look at the context. Okay, well, let's look at the context of how the Browns lost. You get a forced fumble. We recover it at the 45-yard line on our side of the field, and we can only muster it up 3 plays, 4 yards. That's a missed opportunity to go out there and get a double-digit lead. You then somehow get blessed, and they go 7 plays, 42 yards, and they miss the field goal. And you get the ball back, and you only mustered up, 5 plays, 17 yards. Again, another missed opportunity to go out there and put up double digits on the points. But don't worry, the defense is still going to come out here and do what they got to do. 6 plays, -2 yards. You go 3 plays, 1 yard, and at that point, it looks like you're conceding. You went to the predictable Quinshon Judkins, shotgun incomplete. 3rd and 11 is the big topic that everyone's talking about right now. You've got the mishaps of time management with 3:20 to go, and I don't know what world we live in. I don't know how people are defending this, but in no football universe have I ever heard of a team using their timeouts when they have a lead. If someone can refresh my memory and tell me when that has happened, please let me know, because I'll be all ears. But I'm pretty sure the term is the clock is on your side when you have a lead. And I wish I could see the clip, because I remember when Carson Wentz got down on that half of the field and they panned the camera over to him after we used the timeout. He was kind of looking like, what are we doing? Like, did we call that timeout? Did they call that a timeout? So, like, Carson Wentz was literally just as confused as I was when they started calling the timeouts, because my problem with why Kevin Stefanski using those timeouts in that situation, it has to go with manifesting your own desire. He used the words in the press conference, well, in that situation, I'm thinking if they do score, we want to give ourselves some time, when it should be, we're going to go ahead, we're going to win this game now, we're going to let our number one defense go out there and dominate. But, like, you're already showing your defense how much confidence you truly have. But then I already know the argument's going to be, well, the defense could have stopped it. Like you said, if they're going to be the number one defense, they should go out there and show it. But what is your coach doing to put your defense in the situation to go out there and make the plays? I get it. Denzel Ward could have made a better play on the ball. But what is the defense thinking when he sees his coach going out there calling timeouts when there's only, a minute and a half left in the game, and all you need is your defense to take the stop? Like, you want them to be in a rush. So, no, you call a timeout. Guess what they get to do? They get to go to the sideline. They get to draw up their best play. They get to go to that box on their play sheet where all of the best plays are, and they get to pick which one they want to go to. And then guess what? They get to do it again and again. You gave them 3 opportunities to go to all of their money plays, and look where it got you. You put Denzel Ward in a terrible situation for him to get exposed when he was already getting beat pretty much the entire game by Justin Jefferson. He did not have a great day by all means, and I'm a Denzel Ward lover. He was getting exposed. But again, that goes back to the coaching thing where we talk about getting out-coached. Because at the beginning of that game, we're watching chunk play after chunk play after chunk play happen on our defense, and I'm like, damn, this is what coaching an offense look like. This is what trying to get the most out of your play. You saw Justin Jefferson line up in the slot. You saw Justin Jefferson line up at the Y, at the Z, as a running back. You got your jet sweeps. They had misdirection runs. You want to know how to beat the number one defense in the league? You go misdirections. You do things that are going to get the defense out of their groove or out of something that they're not expecting. And that's exactly what we witnessed on the Vikings side of the ball. And yet here we are. We have a running back who rushed for 120 yards, 118 yards, or however many yards it was. He couldn't be stopped in the first half of the game. And then somehow when the moment matters most, you get a 2-minute warning opportunity where you can go down and put points up on the board. And the guy that got you down there isn't even on the field to get the carry that you gave them with one timeout left right before you run it. You run it with Jerome Ford. I love Jerome Ford. That's my dog. But why are we giving 3-4 the carry there when Q should have gotten that carry if you were going to decide to run the ball? But I already know what's coming. Well, it's predictable. If you got Jerome Ford in there, they don't know if you're going to run it or pass it. So now, again, we're scared to let our men who are clearly showing that they're better in the moment. Did they say, hey, I'm gonna go to the third string receiver instead of going to Justin Jefferson when the plays matters most? No, they found a way to get Justin Jefferson the ball. That's my problem with this whole Kevin Stefanski thing, is that you got 23 carries for 110 yards and you still found a way to lose the ball when you had a lead, all because your coach doesn't know how to use his timeouts, has conservative play calling, and has terrible use of the clock and awareness. So now let's go down and what went wrong. We'll start here at point 1. It said late game management and clock mismanagement. Browns allowed the Vikings to score within 25 seconds left, and we already know how that happened. If you can't control the clock, you lose those tight games every single time. And unfortunately, that was the one thing I thought Kevin Stefanski was know how to do, is to hold the ball for 6 minutes, but the pressure must have been too hard. Inadequate adjustments in the fourth quarter. Kevin O'Connell effectively bled the clock, tightened the defense. Browns offense had 1 first down in their last 4 possessions. So we ain't got no plays on the play sheet to where we can go ahead and get a first down? Okay. All right. That's cool. Stefanski didn't ride the hot hand. Who was the hottest player on the field yesterday? Quick cue. Yeah, you didn't even have to answer that. Guess how many times we ran the ball? I guess how many times the rookie quarterback, you know what everybody likes to say? Let me jump on that now since everybody likes to talk about it. Everybody likes to talk about how Dylan Gabriel is a rookie and how he's going to have the mistakes and he's going to have this and that. You made him go out there and throw the ball 33 times. How is that possible? Pat, are you jumping in on this? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at 33 pass attempts to 32, but it was an even attack. It shouldn't have even been an even attack. We should have ran the ball 45 times and passed the ball 20 plus times. That's the part that's really that's the point that's really getting me, because then it's the whole, well, it's a rookie, it comes with the territory. You know what my problem is with that whole it's a rookie thing? You look at other teams, and I'm not just going to use the rookie case. I'm going to use the coaching and the personnel. The 49ers were the perfect example of why this is so frustrating, because they don't have their quarterback. Their running back was injured in and out. They don't have any of their key players in terms of the receiving position or their tight ends. They're all backups, third and fourth stringers that are performing right now, and yet they're still 4-1 and they're finding ways to win. They're still making throws that Dylan Gabriel didn't make. We watched Drake May make countless of those throws yesterday. We saw Mac Jones make countless of those throws yesterday. You can go down the list. We saw Baker Mayfield do it yet again. We saw Cam Ward do it yet again. Like, we see all of these quarterbacks making certain types of throws, and any throw that was past 10 yards with Dylan Gabriel was airmailed. Every single one of them. Not one time did a receiver have an opportunity to go out there and make a catch. He had 2 great throws yesterday, and I believe both of them were to David Njoku. One of them was the high point catch to enter into the red zone. I don't believe we came out with 7 on that drive. We might have. And then the other one was the touchdown throw. But the throws that you need your quarterback to make, those 15-yard digs, those sideline throws when you need to preserve your timeouts or you need to know where the chains are and get your receiver to the chains, none of those were close. They were the same type of throws that we saw from Joe Flacco. Those were the same type of throws that we saw from Deshaun Watson. Those were the same type of throws we saw from Jacob. Like, when is it gonna be? When is it gonna be something else other than the quarterback's problem? I saw somebody tweet something out and said, "Dang, I can't remember what the tweet was, but it's making me think about like the $1 million question that no one really wants to hear." Did Kevin Stefanski? Oh, that's what it was. Is Kevin Stefanski's offense designed to hinder quarterbacks? Because Baker Mayfield seems to have found his stride, and I know he went through the Panthers, and I know he went through the Rams, and he had to go through what he had to go through. But once he found the proper coaching and the guys to elevate his play, it seems to be working out. Deshaun Watson threw for 5,000 yards the season before he came into the Kevin Stefanski thing. Like, Joe Flacco had that 1 year when the offense was dumbed down. He looks hindered. All the questions that we have with each quarterback are the same in every area. Maybe Kevin Stefanski's offense isn't designed for elite playmakers or for top tier talent or for even very, very good talent, because he doesn't know how to utilize those guys. Maybe his best strength and what he's capable of doing is getting the most out of mediocre talent and making them look mediocre. Maybe that's what this is all boiling down to. But I'm kind of getting off on a little tangent here. Leonard says definitely definitely got out coached. Yeah, 100%. Historical offensive failures. Last season, the Browns fired Ken Dorsey after going 3-14, where we averaged 15 points. Didn't change anything. We're still averaging 14 points a game. Meanwhile, Ken Dorsey has a top 5 offense in the league over there in Dallas. Gabriel's in, but the consistency still isn't there. Coaching should. Can anyone tell me who Kevin Stefanski has developed? I'm waiting, because I can't think of a player that he's developed. You know, actually, I lied. There's one player that I can think of who he developed, and he's not on our team anymore. Harrison Bryant. Does Harrison Bryant have a career if it's not for Kevin Stefanski? But other than that, we wasted Jarvis. We wasted Odell. We wasted David Njoku except for 1 year. We wasted Nick Chubb. We wasted Baker Mayfield. We wasted Deshaun Watson wasted himself, but we got the most out of Amari Cooper. That's one. You've wasted Kareem Hunt. You're wasting Q right now. You're wasting Myles Garrett. You wasted Denzel Ward. You're wasting every single player that we look to and be like, damn, these players are good. We're wasting every single player. John says it's purely coaching. Why do you burn timeouts in the fourth when you don't have the ball up? I think he's sabotaging. Now, that's where I don't think it's sabotaging. Here's where I think it is. This goes right back into my theory where I think that our sights are so set on the 2029 and 2030 for that Brook Park thing that I think that this group of guys believe that their job is almost untouchable in a sense. Like it's almost if they have that insurance behind them that through this span you're pretty much going to be secured. Because if that was the case, like I'm almost convincing myself now that we are actually content with losing because we have yet to do anything differently to prove that we aren't content with losing because the term results based business, and it goes back into the show that we had with Mac just a couple days ago, talking about the bars that's being set from the NFL, from the rest of the NFL to the Browns bar, and here we are again doing it. Like it just doesn't make sense to me how we can look at 4-18 in the past 22 years with an average of 15 points per game, where you pass the ball 40 times a game and can only muster up 225 yards per game in that stretch, along with losing 9 months straight. You got one win in 9 months. What coach survives that? Hugh Jackson barely survived that. It got to a point where year 3, they were like, okay, this is enough. It's time to replace him. When are we going to be like, okay, this is enough? So I think, honestly, like as much people say, well, it's never going to end with management, or it's never going to end with Jimmy Haslam being at the top. Jimmy Haslam is doing exactly what everyone wanted him to do, which is stay out of the mix and not get involved. I think if Jimmy Haslam was involved, he would have been pulled the plug on Kevin Stefanski. And I think right now, like it's crazy that we have to do Brown stuff again because it's like we don't want our owner to be involved. I don't want a Jerry Jones owner. And I think Jimmy Haslam is definitely taking steps back to show that he's not trying to be that owner anymore. But I'm at that point now where I'm like, I almost want Jimmy Haslam to get involved now so he can come in here and make some kind of change. Because if he comes in, we at least know that it's going to be a legitimate change and not fluff or something for the media, like it was when Ken Dorsey had to take over play calling. You know what I mean? Like, and then now that I'm thinking about Ken Dorsey, remember the Jameis Winston stretch? That wasn't even Kevin Stefanski. Again. So like those yardages where we scored 30 plus points and we did throw for 500 yards. I vividly remember seeing the clip of Kevin Stefanski on the sideline telling to continue to feed the hot hand to Jameis Winston. Kevin Stefanski isn't even responsible for those games. So what exactly is Kevin Stefanski responsible for in the past year and a half? Because everyone's going to go to the 2023, and that was the thing that made me get back on board, was seeing how he handled that. But since that stretch, after you lost that Texans game, what has Kevin Stefanski done since then? What can you be like, yeah, he did that. That's the reason why that happened. I can't think of anything. It can't be the wins. It can't be him benching Deshaun Watson, because guess what? He didn't bench Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson got injured. It can't be the success of our running backs because we didn't have success in the running game. It can't be the success of our receivers and Jerry Jeudy, because the only success that Jerry Jeudy really saw was when Ken Dorsey took over and Jameis Winston took over. It can't be the leadership. It can't be the discipline, because we are still undisciplined. Another 10 penalty game for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm having a very tough time trying to come up with stuff of what Kevin Stefanski has actually done in the past year and a half. So if anyone can let me know, I'd be all ears and letting them know. Another thing that we can go on with Kevin Stefanski: a trend of losing games or failing to close out. This isn't just a one-time thing. Think about how many times that we've heard the thing, well, Kevin Stefanski played that not to lose. Kevin Stefanski really wasn't aggressive here where he could have been. I think back to year after year, quarterback after quarterback, defensive offensive line, different running backs, different coordinators. And it's always been, dang, well, Kevin Stefanski he really didn't call an aggressive game there. Another tally for a negative that we can't seem to match with a positive. When is accountability going to matter? right? What is the head coach responsible for? Because I don't know if Browns fans can answer that right now. Because the only thing that they say when you say anything about Kevin Stefanski is he's the best coach that we've ever had. And who are you going to replace him with? Well, there's going to be plenty of people that you can replace him with. A lot of these coaches that you know now because they made themselves a household name. You didn't know who they were when they first got into the coaching position. Every single week, Kevin Stefanski comes out and he says he's going to he takes responsibility. We're going to go learn from this. We're going to be better. And we still only have one win to show for it in 9 months. If Kevin Stefanski can't exploit the mismatches on their side of the ball or can't recognize when you have a hot player who cannot be stopped in your running back, how is that's a player fault or is that a coach fault? If your system can't bring the best out of the quarterbacks and you're the quarterback whisperer and you're the offensive guru and you're the offensive coordinator, collapses, not just once. How many times have we sat at the end of the game? Like yesterday was back. It was such a familiar territory. I'm sitting there. We have a lead. And what fan base sits there with the lead knowing like we're going to blow this? Somehow we're going to blow this. Because every indication leading up into that point was showing that we were going to blow it. That's not just a one-time feeling with this team and with this organization over the past 5 years. And then if you look at the other spectrum, think about how many times we were sitting on the edge of the game where we had an opportunity, a perfect opportunity, whether it be from the defense or the offense or a missed kick or an interception or a turnover, and be like, we're not going to find a way to pull this out. We'll find some way. I think back to that Green Bay Packers game where Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions and Nick Chubb ran for 125 yards, and we still had an opportunity to go win the game, and we still couldn't pull it out. When has Kevin Stefanski ever won those games, except for the 2023 year? You do it one time, there's more evidence of a negative pattern than there is a positive pattern with Kevin Stefanski. You got one great season with Kevin Stefanski. Well, what about the 2020 year? That 2020 year was quite literally best case scenario for Kevin Stefanski. Why was that the best case scenario for Stefanski? How does Kevin Stefanski operate? We know how he operates. He's an analytical guy. He's a information guy. You put an Ivy League system into a quarantined environment where there are no distractions and there are no access to the media like there is now, and there are only 3,000 fans into the stands, and you can hear your play calling and all of this stuff. You think about the situation that you put a guy who can do nothing better than to prep for a situation. Of course he's gonna succeed. You're giving him an open book test in an environment that he can control. But now, as things start to unravel and everything's back to normal, he can't control the media. He can't control Shador Sanders the proper way that he wants to. He can't control the narrative as good as he could behind the closed doors because of the accent. It's all coming down that Kevin Stefanski has. We were blinded after that first year that we got him, that 2020 year that we got him because of the playoffs. But we should have saw after we set an expectation that very next year and we fell on our face, and then we fell on our face again, that was really what the real. But then we got tricked again because everyone likes to call it. Everyone says the same exact thing. It was lightning in a bottle, but yet we want to use that as a reference. And then after the lightning in a bottle, it goes right back to the pattern that we saw after the 2020 playoff success. So again, the trend of negative is a pattern, whereas the positives were an anomaly. And yet the anomalies are the things that this Browns fan base is hanging their hats on because those are the year he's won 2-time coach of the year. Congratulations. You had a controlled environment and you had a year you found lightning in a bottle. What about the rest? What about the rest of the year? So I mean, I'm kind of just, I don't really know how much more I got left in this guy. I agree there, but there is a difference when the owner is actively telling the coaching what to do, which Haslam has done, but is trying to stop doing. Where's the account? There's a difference when the owner is actively telling the coaching what to do. Do we know that's what when has Jimmy Haslam, since I think the last time Jimmy Haslam told coaching staff what to do was Johnny Manziel. We're after that, and probably Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson and were probably the two instances that I can think of where Jimmy Haslam probably had a huge say. And the thing with Deshaun Watson that I really want people to understand and know is that Deshaun Watson, as a Browns fan, we have to understand that that was the proper move, but it was the worst execution possible because of the result. When have the Cleveland Browns ever been in a scenario where they had an opportunity to go get a top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league? How many times has a top 3, 5 quarterback in the league ever hit the market to even be available, let alone for the Browns to be available? You were in a situation where Baker Mayfield wasn't at the mature level that you wanted him. He was battling the injury, which is why he forced himself to play because he needed to get that second contract. And you had an opportunity, and you're sitting here and you're looking, you're like, man, we can try to do this with Baker. We can hope that his shoulder gets fixed. We can maybe pray that his maturity level gets to where it needs to go. Or we can go do something that this franchise has never, ever done in the history of their existence and go out there and get a top 3 quarterback in the league who just threw for 5,000 yards the season prior, or who just threw for 5,000 yards, who it was in the conversation with Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers at the time. Can you fault them for making that type of decision? Now, sure, we look at a hindsight 2020 and say that was the worst thing ever, remember, because Deshaun Watson didn't pan out. But the situation, the context that you guys like to talk about, the Browns did something they never, ever could do. And I can't fault them for that. Big Play says, what would you think of the Browns if they fired Kevin Stefanski and it was time to reset? That's exactly what I think it should be. See, it wouldn't even be hard because everyone's favorite question is, well, what would you do here in this? It's like, you have the perfect guy on your team right now who will, from day one, command the respect from the locker room. If Jim Schwartz ushers into the head coaching position, from day one, he already has the respect from the locker room. But now he commands it as the leader of the locker room. You know what Jim Schwartz is going to do? He's going to be like, oh, you're the offensive coordinator. Go handle the offense. Exactly what you should be doing when you have an offensive coordinator. And then if Jim Schwartz doesn't want to be a head coach next year, he can go back to being a DC, and you can find yourself a head coach in the offseason. That is quite literally the perfect situation because, one, you've got players who are familiar with the Tommy Rees offense already here. He's clearly not having an effect on the offense right now, so we'll at least get a new sense of feel and a new style because right now we still can't put up 20 points, so firing Ken Dorsey didn't work. And how much more worse could it be than we have now? You think Jim Schwartz would take over and Tommy Rees take over OC and we're just going to, like, it could get worse than what it already is? No. Like, there's no way. I could be the coach. You could be Pat. You could be the OC. Nick could be the general manager. And whoever else could be. You could pick a random fan to be Paul T. Podesta, and we'd be doing better than what we're seeing right now, if we're being honest. John said, that's what I mean. Hassan has stepped back, or Haslam has stepped back. This is Stefanski, so I didn't realize then and cut off. Yeah, no, it's definitely on Stefanski right now. So, and then of course he comes out in his press conference and he has the same, oh, well, we're gonna get better, we're gonna do better. We gotta execute better. Da 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 da. And then here we are, not gonna change anything about it. So. Pat, I'd love for you to come on. I know you're in a loud area, but if you want to come in and give a quick couple thoughts, I'm running out of things to bitch about on Kevin Stefanski. If you want to come in and you want to drop a couple gems on him, let us know.
Oh man, you got me right now, Zay?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, man. All right. So the thing about it is that was my question in the chat with Jim Schwartz out there. But I think the Browns could do this where they fire Kevin Stefanski midseason, and kind of like a Greg Williams situation from 2018, where it's you take over the locker room, and the Browns are 1-4 at this point, so it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want with this team, but like they're not going anywhere. So we're all eyes towards Brook Park, and honestly next year, like you were saying, but I don't think there's anything you can really do to salvage this season. It all really depends on how tied Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski are together. That's the issue, in my opinion. So,
do you think that Kevin Stefanski could get because remember I've asked this question every single week. Max has been on the no train. A lot of people have been on the no train. But like, is it a different story now? Is there a world where we can look up and actually see Kevin Stefanski get fired? I think I've already called my shot. This stretch of football coming up has been so important. You got Pittsburgh, Miami, New England, the Jets, and the Ravens, and then the Raiders. You have 6 games here, and I think the Ravens game is the cutoff. If Kevin Stefanski loses to Pittsburgh, loses to Miami, loses to New England, and loses to the Jets, you're telling me he's going to make it through the season, Pat? No. There's no way, right?
Yeah, I mean, at 1-5, if Kevin Stefanski loses this next game at 1-5, he's gone. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Ooh. If you lose to Pittsburgh again in a division right now where Pittsburgh would have literally run away with it at this point, I think you're fired immediately. I don't think there's any way that they keep him. Andrew Berry, maybe because of this draft class, but we've seen it before where Dorsey had a good draft class and still got fired. So I don't know with this Haslam guy.
So it's funny that you say that, because I believe a lot of the previous coaches that the Browns had, I have to double check it, but I'm almost positive almost every coach that gets fired is after a Steelers game. And it usually comes at the end of the year. How ironic would it be if Kevin Stefanski got canned in the middle of the season after a Pittsburgh game? That is another set, but like, it's even more frustrating when you do look at the division, because you want to talk about an opportunity of a freaking lifetime. The Baltimore Ravens are literally just as bad. So the Browns lost to them. Romeo Crennel, Eric Mangini, Pat Sherman, Rob Chudzinski, and Mike Pennant all fired after the second game of the year versus Steelers. If you're going to get fired, it's coming at the hands of the Steelers, right? You can't wait until 12:28 at 4:00 to want to be like, you know what? Yeah, Kevin, you may not be it. Like, that's why it's like, I wish this front office would really, they do a very good job of keeping things close to the vest. And they do their best to try to not tell us exactly what's going on, but they give us hints at what's going on. I wish they would just come out and tell us that they were tanking. I wish they would just tell us or hint that for the next 3 years that you shouldn't have high expectation, because I think it would make losing a little bit more easier than them telling us, oh, we're going to compete in a couple years, or, oh, we're going to sign Myles Garrett and we're going to make a couple trades here. And, oh, we did hit on these draft class, but we're still going to just wait. Like, what good does it do to string us along? Like, you have the most diehard fan base. If you told the fans straight up, hey, we're going to lose, fans aren't going to stop coming. We're still going to go to the damn games. We're still going to tailgate. We're still going to buy our merch and do all of these things. And we probably do it with honor and respect, knowing that our front office is being straight up with us. But this whole, oh, yeah, we got Myles back, and, oh, we're going to bring in Joe Flacco, who I was on board with, and, oh, we're going to do all these fun things in the next couple years and try to win. And then you go 1-5. Like, in the comment section, please let us know, what is your over-under game? I'm going to mark it at over-under Kevin Stefanski fired 11-10. That is going to be after the Jets game. Pat already says that he thinks it's going to be after this week's game if we lose the Pitt. I'm going to stick with Max and think that Max is probably still on the train where he makes it through the season, but more than likely is canned. I'm interested to know his thoughts on that on the next episode. But my over-under, I'm going to go over. I think 11-10 is the day for Kevin Stefanski to get up out of here if we continue to lose these games. And we shall see. So stay tuned for the next episode of Honor the Land. Max couldn't be here today. So hopefully, Max, you handling what you need to handle. And we got Pittsburgh week coming up. We're going to be in Truck Park, Lakewood. Pat, do you have the address for that? It's Truck Park, right? That's what it's called?
Yes, sir. Lakewood Truck Park, guys, this Sunday for the Browns-Steelers game. It's right here on Detroit Road in Lakewood. I'll get you the number, but it's right across from the Lakewood YMCA. It's going to be a great time. You guys will be there. Obviously, a bunch of the big play personalities will be there. Food trucks, anything you need. Get the crock pot going, I think. The crock pot will be there, the mobile crock pot. So Lakewood Truck Park this Sunday for the Browns-Steelers game.
Yep, I'll be there after the pregame. We're hosting Max and myself will be hosting the pregame, and then after the pregame, RV is going to stay put there. I'll be doing my live commentary in the RV after that. So it's going to be a good time. Make sure you guys come out. And, as always, man, here we go, Rowdy. Here we go. Woo, woo. That's going to do it for this episode of On the Land on Big Play Sports Network, presented to you by FanDuel. Go Browns.